All right, let's talk camera bags today. I first backed Miggo's second Kickstarter, the Aqua IPX3 Stormproof camera bag, some time ago, back in 2015, and it's worked out great for me since then. I use it to carry and shoot my DSLR with a mid-range zoom or prime lens on it when I'm hiking in sandy, wet, or snowy conditions. And I last used it when I last used it when taking a casual hike with my two boys in Yosemite along the Mist Trail. And that trail is known for being really, really wet and having lots of mist from the waterfall that cascades down there. And I never did a review for the bag, but I had such a good experience with it that when Miggo told me about their plans for a new product release, namely these two bags and one other, I was really excited and eager to take a look and even do a review for it. Let's dive into what these new bags have and what the details are, and we'll go from there. So let's put this bag off to the side. We're not going to be talking about it. Okay, so Miggo's latest product release is the Aqua X Stormproof bags, and they're being launched as part of their fourth crowd-funded campaign. This time not on Kickstarter, but on Indiegogo, and I'll include a link in the video description down below somewhere so you can see it for yourself. They have a really cool pitch video, and normally I get sucked into that, but I wanted to give people a very real feel for what the bags are capable of and what's good about them. So the nitty-gritty is that they have three bags actually that they're coming out with. One is the Versa Backpack 90, which is going now on their crowd-funded campaign for $169 and will retail for $219. The Aqua Sling Bag 60, which is going to be $139 online now and $179 retail, and then the other is a drone bag that's going to be about $129 and then $179 in the stores. Now, note these bags are prototypes, and I'm only going to be reviewing the sling bag and the backpack because the drone bag I don't think I could give a real fair review on, since I'm not really flying drones all that often. And the drone that I do have is really dated, so I don't think I'd be able to do it justice to really talk about all the details for that audience. Now, all of these are intended to be water resistant, and they're made of tarpaulin, neoprene, lycra, and polyester. And being in the US, the term waterproof has a very strict definition. And these are not waterproof, they are stormproof, which is another way for saying that they're very, very water resistant. And I've been on photo trips that require dry bags and pelican cases to keep equipment dry if it's ever submersed in water, and these bags are not built to that standard. You can tell by the material. They have zippers and everything and sealing that are tight but not for submersion, so keep that in mind when you're evaluating waterproof bags, these or others. The rating is very, very important. Now, what these can survive is a heavy flow of sprayed water, or even well, we'll just say that. I wouldn't even consider dunking this in water if you can avoid it, but a heavy spray is great, and they'll be able to survive. And you'll definitely be great with these bags if you're in a humid or modestly wet climate. Now, the folks at Miggo have let me know that the bags meet the IPX3 rainproof standard, and that's very key. It's in their branding, it's in the naming of the products, and technically speaking, that translates to protection against spraying water. Specifically water spraying at a particular flow, and that is, bear with me, 60 degrees from vertical at 10 liters per minute at a pressure of 80 to 100 kilonewtons per meter squared for 5 minutes. So that's what the IPX3 rating means. What that means probably to the average Joe like you or me is that you're going to be pretty good keeping your gear dry in a pretty heavy downpour of water. Now, one thing to emphasize is that I am looking at these prototype bags, and by most standards, these would pass as a final product for most anybody. But the folks at Miggo have a few more refinements that they want to put in place before this goes into final production and at the close of their crowdfunding campaign. So take that into account as we're reviewing this, but there's nothing that's a showstopper, and there's nothing that really impacts anything that I would talk about in the review. So let's take a quick dive in and check out what these bags have to offer. First, I'm going to talk about this, the backpack, and Oh, I should also say, before I dive into this, the company, how do they stand behind their product? Well, Miggo has a 2-year warranty for all their bags, and you can get an optional 3-year extension when you register your bags on their website. So I'd say that's a pretty good deal. 2 years is great. 5 years is really fantastic. Like I said, I've had this bag since 2015, and I've never had a problem with it being in the water or the snow. So again, being really into this bag, I thought it'd be worth talking about these. Now, the Versa Backpack 90, this one, we'll get to this one finally, sports the following features, which are pretty nice. One, there's a 3-second draw capability on the side, and that is the accessory bag. But this side is where you access the gear, and there is a room for a 70 to 200 millimeter lens, my body, and a whole lot more. Let me zip this up and I'll show you the 3-strap formation that the bag supports. It has 2 straps which you can cross, or you can just use one as a sling. And then it also handily fits inside in this same pocket a 14.5-inch laptop and an iPad. One thing it also has that's really cool and very thoughtful of them is that they put in a data bank or a compartment for an external battery that you could charge your phone or tablet or phablet through 2 USB ports that are right here. Now, the other thing that these bags both have is they have this thermoforming bottom, which is really, really hard and tough. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's really tough. And it has a removable padded insert inside as well, and that will allow you to hold a Pro SLR, a 24 to 70 lens, a 70 to 200 lens. I mean, it all really fits in here pretty well, and the compartment you can take out, store, carry as its own bag and whatnot. The external storage pockets on the side, or just one pocket, if you can bear with me in putting that in there not so eloquently, has enough room for a cell phone and any other accessories that you want to throw in there. You can see there's room for all kinds of stuff, batteries, there's mesh for your CF card holders, anything else that you want to include. One thing that I also really like about the backpack is that it has a trolley insert, and at the bottom of the lower back padding, there's a spot and you can slide your handle of your luggage to there. And that's pretty ideal if you're trying to manage your bags with your other luggage in an airport. Now, these bags are pretty well aligned towards people who are much more adventurous and putting their gear through, putting their gear through other things, other weather conditions that have extreme conditions like water and sand and whatnot. So it's a really good way to keep your gear protected. Now, the Versa Backpack, I should mention, is about 17.5 inches tall, 10 inches wide, 7 inches deep, and its internal dimensions are roughly about 9 inches wide, 9.5 inches tall, and about 7 inches deep internally. And as you can see, for scale, that's what your general camera looks like in comparison to the bag. The things that I like about it are that it stores a good amount of gear for the size. It's not a huge bag, and it's not particularly small either, so it gives you a lot of flexibility in what you can store. I like the modularity of the inserts. They are pretty nice by any standard. I like that there's a lot of thoughtfulness to the internal engineering and design of the bag, and it's a great solution when you don't want to deal with a rain cover. Both of these bags are that way. This material on the outside there's no need for a rain cover, and you don't have to deal with it if you're in water or snow. It's just nice to have that and not have to worry about any other accessories. You can use your own battery charger in this port, and the space for the battery is about 6.5 inches long, 4.5 inches wide, and about 1.2 inches tall. So that's ample enough to fit most battery packs. And I also like that you can put your bag on your luggage securely. More times than not, my camera bags always feel like a fifth wheel, and they're really tough to juggle and tricky if you're managing your luggage, let alone anybody else's. So having this compartment here where you can pull your handle up is quite nice. It's one of the first bags I've seen with that, and I like it quite a bit. The things that I don't like about it, The external material is a little stiffer than traditional camera bag material, but that's not horrible, it's just different, and it's something that you need to get used to. I would imagine with time and extra use that this will start to be a little bit looser. It is bendable by all means, and with the padding inside, it just feels a little stiff. But it's squeezable and whatnot. It's just a little different in feel. The shoulder straps can be a little bit more padded. It is padded and it's fine, but if you packed your bag really heavily, or you wore this for a really long time, it's possible that you might feel it in your shoulders a little bit. But nothing too horrible, just something to keep in mind. And if Miggo's listening, then hey, pad these babies up. I do wish it had an external pocket or strap for like a tripod. This particular bag does not have that, but you'll see the other bag does. So that's a little bit of mystery why they didn't include that on here. And then kind of like a small pet peeve is, Miggo isn't providing an exact fit external battery that you can put into this compartment yet. Not that they have to, it would just be nice. I have a bunch of these already, so it's not the end of the world. But hey, there you have it. The Sling Bag 60, we'll put this off to the side. The Sling Bag 60, similarly, let's move this camera over here, has a 3-second quick draw capability via its side opening, and that would be right here. And you can open that and have ample room. I'll go into a little bit closer look of this stuff so that you can see it. It has a one strap formation since it's a sling bag and it has only one strap. It also fits in this handy dandy bag a 13.5-inch laptop or iPad. It doesn't do both. This one will do both. This one does not, so choose wisely. The dual port charging thing is very similar to the other bag and works out great. I like that it has like it's rubbery, and so it pops on and off pretty easily, but you just have to make sure that you have it nice and tight. The rigid thermoforming bottom, just like the other bag, and my original as well, is there and holds up very, very well. It holds a Pro DSLR, a 24-70 2.8 attached, 70 to 200 millimeter lens, and a flash. By and large, they say it holds 2 extra lenses total with your body. So there's still ample room in here. And actually, surprisingly, this has quite a bit of room that you might not imagine that a sling bag would have. The external storage pocket is here on the front instead of the side like the other bag, and this is just more of an open pocket where you can put your cell phone. It doesn't really have a whole lot of other accessories in there. You just slide stuff in there. There is extra room for memory cards and cables and batteries and whatnot on the inside as well as on the side. This is a little bit more polished in terms of its presentation for that, and this one does have a tripod connector, unlike the other bag. I'm not sure why they excluded it on here. I think everybody should use a tripod, but that's just me. And then it also has the luggage or trolley holder, which is down below on the waist padding on this one. Again, I really think that that's pretty cool. As before, I mean, like all of these bags, they're aiming for these bags to be more for the adventurous and the individual that's going to put their gear in more extreme elements where there's heavy mist, rain, humidity. So really good for like your working day bag or just for special trips. The sling bag itself is 16.5 inches tall, 10.5 inches wide, and 6 inches deep. And the internal storage space has dimensions that are just shy of 16 inches tall, 9.5 inches internal, and 5.5 inches deep. So still plenty of room. The difference is in the padding, and there's enough to keep this from experiencing any kind of major dings on your gear for sure. So what I like about it is it stores just the right amount of gear for this type of bag. I've used other sling bags and they're similar. This seems to have a little bit more extra room from what I've seen with other sling bags, but yet it has a relatively smaller footprint. Or at least it seems that way to me. The internal layout is really nicely organized. I think it's great that they have the different sections that you can move in and out with Velcro, just like any other bag. Even the battery part can be taken in and out as well. So if you don't want that, you can put in other stuff. I do really like that on this bag you can hold a tripod. This again is one of the main reasons why I chose this one in my backing of it, just because I need to carry a tripod and I don't want to carry it in my hand. I'm sure there's going to be a solution for this. Similarly, you know, this material, the reason why I like these bags and I take my time to actually mention them is that they are water resistant and they're great for people who need to be in and out of areas where they don't want to deal with their gear getting wet. Similarly, with the other bag, you can use your own charger in here, which saves you some money. And yeah, I think that pretty much does it. I think you should also know that the stitching and everything is really nice. You know, like every zipper is covered so that there's really minimal point of entry for any kind of water. Yeah, works out pretty good. And like I mentioned before, I still really think, as of all things, I think that the luggage handle thing, so that you can put this on your luggage and then carry it, is really cool. I guess you can also put it through the upper or the bottom, the handle, so still pretty cool. Things that I don't like or kind of want to warn people about is, again, the material is a little bit different. If you're not used to it, it does feel weird. It is squishable, you know, and there is padding inside, but the external material does just seem a little stiffer than what your other camera bag might feel like. But hey, it's water resistant. I think that's really, really awesome. The shoulder strap, like I mentioned, similarly is not much different in terms of padding. Could be a little bit more, but that's not to say that you can't put something around it and give yourself padding if it bothers you, but I think it's probably fine. I do wish that, again, like I mentioned, I wish they had like kind of like a recommended battery or an accessory that you could buy with it that's just like a really high capacity battery, but hey, first world problems. So, you know, both bags, I would say, are really worth considering and picking up. I'm particularly excited about the release, and I really want to thank Miggo for providing these prototypes for me to actually review and take a look at. This spring I did a shoot in really heavy mist, and I was fretting about the rain cover on it. I was in the bottom footprint of a waterfall, and it was really windy, and these would have been really nice to have as an option, not having to deal with a rain cover, forgetting it, or not having it on and the wind blowing it off is a total drag. So these are great. As far as I'm concerned, these bags live up to expectation and are on par with the great quality I saw with Miggo's Aqua X. Never had a problem with this bag. I've used it for 2 years, and it's been great. This is more of like a shoulder bag. And then I like the fact that they're water resistant and they keep your gear protected from normal bumps and drops. Really as good as any camera bag out there in terms of padding and or protection, except they're water resistant, which is particularly nice. So I would definitely consider these if you're going to be in sandy conditions, wet conditions, snowy conditions, anything that you don't want the elements getting into your bag unless you intend it to. All the zippers, all the stitching, everything is really, really well done. Even the waterproof material is stitched together and sealed in a way that is particularly solid. I trust these. I've trusted my other cameras with the smaller bag, and seeing the improvements they've made with these bags over this one, I would wholeheartedly recommend these bags. So if you try them out or you have any other questions, let me know in the comments. I think that it'd be great to hear other people's experience with the bags. And again, Miggo, thank you very much for the early access to the bags to give a review. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, and check out some of the other content I've shared. I really appreciate it, and happy shooting.